let's move on to GME. I've been tracking this GME, and then initially I thought that they're tracking this April May run, because I saw similar accumulation setup here, making this kind of double bottom setup and then pushing up, and there was a pullback. But as I found out later on that the algo was different. The accumulation phase was kind of looks very similar, and then also the rally looks similar. But as they doing this kind of pullback phase, I found out that this pullback was completely different than this one. So I was wondering, like, oh, what algo they're playing out here? And then it was between this. I was comparing between May run, 2024 May run, or 2020 bull cycle. So I was looking into this, and then I later found out that, oh wait, they're actually using this algo here. And when I brought this algo and then match it here, it looks exactly same. So, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna play out this. They might, creating a new pattern. So I have no idea, no guarantee. But if you look into this MACD and RSI, it look kind of similar. So let me walk you with this one. So this 2020 on the right side is the bull cycle begins. This is April, and there was sharper pullback in 2020 March earning, and then this thing pushed back up. There was also this kind of similar looking setup, double top, and then pushed back down, and there was a rally happen. And then when you look at closely, I'm gonna draw an arrow here. Sorry, I'm gonna draw 1 second. So as you can see, this hit bottom, push back up, right? Push up. So this one has a 2, right? There's a double top. There was a double top setup here as well. It's hard to see, but now you're seeing it here. I'm gonna change the color so you could see it. I don't know, if maybe it's just too light, but you're seeing it here anyway. So there's a double top setup happen here. I'm gonna drop an arrow. 1, 2, right? And that kind of shows in MACD as well, right? 1, 2, 1, 2. I'll just thicken it the MACD a little bit. So that's what I saw here, and there was a pullback, and there was a one more push, which will happen here around this area. So after this double top push back down, they push back up again, right? Which what happened here, and that's what I saw here as well. Because if we are going as the 2024 April, end of April kind of area before heading into early like a May run, this thing should have dropped a lot faster, but there was a lot of dragging out, and then that was completely off. The algo was completely up, so I was like, okay, they're not running like 2024 April. They're running like very similar to 2020 June instead. So that's something that I caught. This is the first sign of the first peak on this. There's in a middle line. It pushed back up and then pull back. Similar thing happened here on the left side. It pushed back up to the upward to the past the middle line and pull back down. Similar thing happened, and then when it pushed back up second times, it was a lot higher, which also shows same signal here. The second top was higher than first one. So that's kind of what I noticed. looks similar pattern, I noticed. So this thing happened here, the second top happened here, second top happened here. Okay, so I do I do notice that similar pattern was creating as 2020 June. And then what happened was there was one more pullback. There's a short signal happened here, short signal happened, show up here, pullback phase happened. This is the recent Gamestop earning, and as I noticed that when I look into this fractal pattern, I do notice a very similar pattern. And now I'm gonna change the color to a more brighter color so that you could see it. Looks very similar. And then when I look at MACD as well, I kind of color this one here so you guys can kind of see it, distinguish better. You see this yellow box? I just kind of let me thicken the line here. You see this yellow box here? So after they did double top here, pullback, short signal up here near GME earning, there was a lot of fluctuation happened, but the MACD was going up, and then so MACD hit the bottom. It before hit the bottom, it goes like this. Also, it hit the bottom and it goes exactly like that. And then when you look at this yellow box, it goes up and there was a pullback, right? It goes up and there's pullback. But here's the important thing I noticed was when there was a pullback, the price the price was actually hit the lowest, right? But the MACD line was going higher. You see? Same thing happened back in 2020, July. Price was dropping, whereas the MACD line was slightly moving higher. Okay, you see that? That's when I noticed this is another key point, right? This is another key point for me when I look at AMC, right? There's a key point that I was looking at. Same thing as so there's something that I was watching, and then it just clicked with me, right? Yeah, this is the key point, right? This area, very same pattern that they made before they're making a triple top setup, right? This is the pink fractal exactly pattern before they're heading into triple top setup, right? And then that's what happened. So that's kind of what I noticed, right? They're making an algo pattern that's similar to a past movement, past algo, right? Anyway, so as soon as I noticed that, I was like, okay, we could possibly moving into this phase now, right? So we passed this, now we are heading into this. We saw a recent pop, but there was a pullback, so similar price matching. Now we saw there's a news just announced a few hours ago that Donald Trump ceasefire 2 weeks with Iran, right? So they paused the war. That create a possible momentum, right? And then we are at the phase where like GME pops and there's gonna be pullback, right? So when I see that, I think that will be the good confirmation, and then this will continue to pushing back up until April 23rd, Thursday, which is the 3 years anniversary of BBYQ file Chapter 11. BBY Chapter 11, right? Not the BBY, the former overstock, the original BBY that went through Chapter 11, right? So they filed Chapter 11 on Sunday, April 23rd, and now as GME is pushing up, it seems like the same gap up phase when Ryan Quinn announced his 9.6% stake in GameStop and create a huge gap up. This phase we are heading into on the date of a 3 years anniversary on April 23rd, Thursday. Very interesting. I don't know why they set it up that way. Maybe it is intentional or not. We're gonna find out. But and when we do that, they left the gap at $28 and $29.5, and this gap possibly will be filled. And then we have a April 29 FOMC meeting, and they're gonna announce and they're gonna make a decision on interest rate or whatever. But I'm expecting a pullback, due to the FOMC. So I'm expecting somewhere between April 23rd, which is the 3 years anniversary of BBY, and I don't know why that caused GME pop, right? But maybe they're gonna announce they have BBY or something, or a bond or something, which what the BBYQ shareholders are expecting. There's gonna be some sort of a merger or acquisitions with GME and between GME and then BBYQ, right? So something will happen here, or maybe BBYQ they announce Chapter 11 exit on the same day on the 3 years anniversary, and then somehow that caused the whole basket stock like some sort of I don't know. It just caused some sort of a short covering or something. I don't know. So something will happen, I think, around April 23rd. So we're gonna find out what's gonna happen on the time, and then push back up to a 28 to 29, get filled and pull back down, and then continue this rally throughout this whole July and August. And I think the squeeze phase will kick in around end of August or end of September. So, but I don't know. It might drag it out. Who knows, right? So that's kind of what I'm watching right now. But because it has been dragging out so long, that it could potentially maybe dragging out little couple months or later on. But that I can't really say. But things I could say now is we are heading into a bull cycle for some reason. I mean, not the bull cycle, it's a squeeze cycle. Yeah, I mean it is kind of similar, but yeah, we're heading into that, and hopefully this thing finish earlier than I expected. And also there's a June 8th shareholder meeting, and apparently I think if GameStop were to run like this, I'm expecting a huge pullback here. And I know the June call options are huge, but based on the algo, whatever I saw, and then when I match the algo with the current cycle, somehow it matched with timing where June 8th there's a shareholder meeting in GameStop from GameStop, and they're gonna drop 20% from shareholder meeting, and I have no idea what they're gonna be announcing, but I'm expecting that there will be some sort of a acquisition. Okay, which means that the acquire the share price will significantly drop, right? In a short term. So I think that's what's going to happen. So if you have June call options for GME, just watch out this area, because your call option will be wiped out, right? If this thing happen, I have no guarantee. I don't guarantee, but I'm just telling you what I'm seeing here. But before we talk about this, I would like to see this thing play out first, right? So let's find out what will happen on that 23rd, April 23rd, the 3 years of BBY Chapter 11, and hopefully things we hopefully hear some announcement, because a lot of people are waiting for the announcement, right? So squeeze signal, early MOAS. Yes. I'm waiting to see. A lot of people are gonna tired of this games, but I think we're very soon. We're gonna find out very soon. Usually the accumulation phase is a lot longer, and then when the squeeze cycle kicks in, I think usually it takes about 2 weeks to a month. But yeah, this time it's gonna be big one. So that's why accumulation was a lot bigger, because the market cap is now bigger for GME, and then AMC will most likely will follow. But yeah, so yeah, to wrap up today, for GME, it looks like we're running we might run very similar to 2020. I would say we are at this level of August 2020 August, as I see a similar pattern happening here, how they pull back, and then now I see a similar signal appear here. As you can see, there's a short signal appear here, one, and there's a one here, and a similar spot. And I see today long signal appear here, which I do see at this level as well, which happened on 2020 August 5th, Wednesday. So yeah, I'm hoping to see. I think GME could push up to 24 bucks, and then I think it's gonna drop by Friday or Thursday this week, April 9th. And if I see that, I'm gonna enter call options for May. May call option will be safer for me, I think, even though this thing will pop. But you never know, right? You never know. So you never know how they're gonna run this thing. It might pop like that. It could, it could gradually, like it could just kind of move up gradually. Who knows, right? So I might get maybe a middle packs, male packs one. Maybe that might be safer, like a 1 month out. Or maybe May 8th call options, for $27. But it's up to you. This is not financial advice. And yeah, and then after that, yeah, just be careful. Anybody who holds, yeah, the June call options. I mean, June call option will like go up and down like crazy. But just to let you know, around June 8th, I'm gonna broadcast again, right? I'm gonna do another live stream. If I see a similar, if we're moving to a similar cycle like that, I'm gonna do, of course, a broadcast before shareholder meeting. But around June 8th shareholder meeting, or around June, what is it? June 10 estimate the shareholder, not the shareholder, sorry, earning. Something's gonna happen, right? Something's gonna happen to drop it like that, right? And then if you have call options for June OPEX, your call option will be worthless. Okay, so just be careful. Always take profits, right? And then this is gonna be July, end of July, August, and possibly end of August or September. So I don't know if this go up to this level, but I think it will be lower. But one thing I could say is that there's a huge gap they left here. When I look at daily, I find out there was a setup they left. Let me just change the gap. Okay, so numbers of gap 300, maybe 10. So there was a gap here at 72 bucks. Yeah, you see here, there's a gap at 72 bucks, which is the gap from 2021 June. Okay, there's a gap, you see. So this is also set up. They know that this is coming, right? They knew that this is coming. Look at this. This gap was here at 40 bucks. In May squeeze, when Roaring Kitty came back, the gap was filled, right? All this gap during this bear cycle when the squeeze cycle kicks in, all this gap were filled, right? Which means that now we have a gap set it up here at $28 when the orange issue, and we had a sharper down pressure, and they left the gap 28. They had left the gap at 29 when GME earning happened. There's a huge gap, right? So all this gap were actually left for a reason, for this bull cycle, bull run, and squeeze cycle. Left $72, which means that GME will hit $72 no matter what, right? And then heading into squeeze, and after that there's no gap, so they can go, they can just push up whenever they want. But we do have to break out this all-time high level, which is $120 from back in 2021 January, right? So I do expect, we might retest this level, or we could just break out, right? So that one I don't know, but because AMC is making bigger one, AMC I'm looking at, it could hit past 30, right, around $30, so that's around 2,000%. So if I add 2,000% from here, they'll roughly give me around $500, okay, around $500. So I don't know if this will push up to higher, but I'm looking at around that time, 400, 500 maybe, because usually AMC and GME, they kind of match the size of squeeze, right? So we're gonna see, but for now, that's all I can say. This is what I can do, what I can show you, and yeah, just I'm gonna wait for the this pullback, and now enter some calls for May, and yeah, we're gonna find out soon. Okay, if that happen, if this actually happen, that'll be amazing, right? This gain itself is about almost 1,000% or over 1,000% gain, so pretty good call option play. Meanwhile, AMC is going to I show you the where was this? Yeah, I show you this one as well, right? So we're tracking same thing, and all this gap set up for a reason, perfect setup. So I think AMC will follow later on. Usually AMC is more explosive by end of the squeeze phase, right? So I think, yeah, maybe around July and September will be the biggest for AMC, in my opinion. But all this gap will be filled for sure. All these gaps are set up, right? It's just amazing how they just set it up this way. It matches perfectly with this, the fractals, right? Just crazy. This first staircase, the second one, and then to the final. It's just crazy how it matches. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. I think that's pretty much it for today. Let's see how both of GME and AMC will move. And yeah, I'd like to find out, what's gonna happen to the BBYQ shareholders on April 23rd, because it's been 3 years of long time waiting. I've seen filings happen about recently with some settlements, like some shipping company, but still there's nothing really. We haven't really heard any solid news from BBY, and but I think we are ready. We are very close to be ready. I think there's just waiting for that right timing. Another good news for BBY is I think the T0 trading will happen on April 24, I think on Friday. So they're really waiting for this kind of the T0 and also the stock. What do you call it? The Nasdaq. They also approved the tokenize shares. So I think they're really just approaching to that, the next phase of how the stock market works. And I think BBYQ shareholders, hopefully we are the first shareholders that kind of starting with that kind of new the system, with that tokenized shares and the new system of the stock market. So I don't know what will be that. A lot of people might have waiting for that big cash settlements. I really hope so. But I can't really tell. What will be the settlement will be. But I think we're gonna find out very soon, as we approaching to the 3 years of anniversary of Chapter 11 on April 23rd, and I think this is gonna be the big for GME as well. And there will be some sort of a connection for sure, right? So yeah, I'm seeing also $25.50 gap here, small gap set up there too. So yeah, all this setup are perfectly done, and now we are just kind of waiting to this thing play out. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys.